strategic to all the extensions of you.
1.4 million people. We are some of the most creative, awesome people on the face of the planet. I have a passion for female entrepreneurship. I wanted to give back to the people in my country, especially female entrepreneurs. The ability to create something out of nothing is a skill that all women have. I am a business strategist. There are way more opportunities for women than ever before, and I wanted to bring my experience and my knowledge to the table. Once we've been able to identify the problems or the challenges that you think you have, as compared to the challenges or the problems that you actually have, we offer customized solutions. I have a team of people who come on board to create synergy. I am not a Trinidadian brand. I'm a global brand that is run by a Trinidadian woman. So everywhere I turn up as a Trinidadian woman first.
Hi, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. We have come to the end of this series, and I think it is only fair that the person who has been at the cornerstone of the brand that is Zoma, I beginning up one time.
I'm taking that.
that person should be on the closing of it. So tonight we're going to do two things. We are going to interview, we're going to have a convo. We don't really interview people. We talk, we chat. And we're going to do a little closing because I have 7 women to thank, and the people who participated, the people who took the time. Because here is the thing. It is very easy in this season to talk about things that really don't impact on women's lives. It's very easy to talk about these superficial things. But the things that really matter in the lives of female entrepreneurs, female CEOs, the people that I serve, those things are usually glossed over. So tonight, we're going to talk about bold women in business and leadership. This is week 8. This is the last week. And we're going to talk about the importance of creating a memorable impression. Let's not talk about fashion or style. We're going to talk about creating a memorable impression, because when we did the chat with Jamila Bannister, Jamila talked about the importance of personal branding. And I hear people talking about personal branding, and once again, they're just lightly touching on it. So tonight we are going to have this conversation with my dear friend Candace. And Candace is all of the things. Candace is a certified image consultant. She's a style coach. And she's a 20-year veteran of communication. So she understands the importance of not having a second opportunity to make a first impression. So tonight we're going to take off this really quickly and we're going to start the conversation. So Candace, tell them a little bit about yourself.
Ooh. So good night, everyone. Glad to be on Mrs. G week 8. You know, the spiritual meaning of 8 is new beginnings. So this is just a new beginning for the new chapter for Mrs. G and her business, and also a new chapter in my life as well. And I hope that the information that you get from tonight's session is going to be not only impactful, but it's also going to be inspirational in your daily walk as you build your signature image. A little bit about me. As Ms. G indicated, I am a certified image consultant and style coach. I was certified by the London Image Institute out of, I was actually certified in Atlanta, although the school is from London, and they are an affiliate of the AICI Global Group, which is the Association of Image Consultants International. How this all started, how I all got into this, is actually stems from my grandmom. God rest her soul, she was a dressmaker. And I used to do modeling for Radical Designs, also Auntie Jackie, which we know is Jackie Kunhao. And my grandmom used to make most of my clothing, right? Although she used to specialize in wedding garments. Now I can't sew or stitch or help to save my life. I still ask my mom at 48 years, Mommy, could you just hem this for me? I take my little buff above my head and she would do it for me whenever she can. But I also was interested in terms of what was the extension of dressmaking, what was the extension of fashion. So I started to do research. And then I looked at a couple of schools, international schools, because there wasn't anything that was really advanced here that I was looking for. And then I looked at image consultancy, I looked at the schools, and that's how I was able to train. Now, when people think of image consultant, they think of it as something that it's a luxury. Pre-COVID, that would have been the case, but post-COVID, it's moved from a luxury now into a necessity. Now, you might think that I am, or you might classify me as a personal stylist. And it's not that it's wrong, but I just want to really identify what is the difference between image consultant and a style coach as opposed to a personal stylist. Now, although I would offer that as a service if requested by a client, an image consultant like myself, what I would do is really get down into working with the client in terms of identifying your now, understanding where you are the present, where you are in your personal style, understanding your personal style characteristics, and how does that align with the garments within your wardrobe. Is it a reflection of who you are or in the present, or is it a reflection of who you are in the past? Then I also go into drilling down as to clarifying and discovering what is your next. How are you evolving? Where do you want to go? What are your goals? What are your lifestyle decisions? And then understanding and then guiding you in terms of bridging the gap. That means removing the old, what is there, how are we now going to build and curate a wardrobe for you that actually represents you in the now and then takes you and elevates you into your next, right? So that's what an image consultant does. It's actually the educational factor part of it, where it is I drill down and really guide you and hone into those skills that you are clear about your personal style and how you develop a signature image. Whereas a personal stylist is one that comes in and dresses you for a wedding, an occasion, an anniversary of a special birthday. You want to do a photo shoot. I'm there to be there to help you to make sure your hair in place, your nails intact, your outfits and your garments are strategically placed. So when that the photographer actually takes those photos, you come out with fantastic A-class photos, right? So that is the difference. So I want to really make that clear. I really do coaching and educating more than just one-off, um, um, you know, instances or consultancy that personal stylists would do, right? So I hope that you'll get a gist of what an image consultant is. And as I said, pre-COVID, it would have looked as a luxury type of service, but now it's a necessity because as we now enter into more hybrid environments, this whole thing about AI and digital transformation and being in a digitized environment and world now, how we show up is important. Your image is important as to how are you showing up in your respective environments and your spaces. So, you know,
I
that's a
love
little bit
that.
of me.
I love that. And I love the fact that you clarified it earlier o'clock,
Yeah.
because for the uninitiated, there's always a mix up between a stylist, which you may hire a stylist for a one-off event,
Yes. Yes.
but an image consultant is really an educator, and that educator will help you to create an all-round packaging, for
Yes.
want of a better word, of yourself, of your brand, of your offer, of how you're going to show up. But funnily enough, you're talking about something, and something else occurred to me. recently I was reading an article where somebody was saying the reason why the former Queen Elizabeth used to wear bright colors
Mm-hmm.
is because she was extremely small. So in order for her to stand out, her image consultant, because that's not her stylist, that's her image consultant. Her image consultant made sure that her suits, if you notice, she always wore either daffodil yellow or a Kelly green or very bright colors and very tailored lines. She never wore a lot of frou-frou. Her clothes were always, and a lot of people didn't realize she was a very tiny person.
Mm-hmm.
So, in order for her to stand out in a crowd, she went with bright colors. And that's something that never occurred to me until I read that article recently. And if you were to go back and look at her pictures, you would see that that person was one of the consultants for her wardrobe
Her wardrobe.
during her, yep. So it's very important.
Yeah.
And also something that you talked about, and I'll be honest, there are times that I see women in public life who they, the image is not saying anything at all.
Mm.
It's not saying anything at all. It is like there's not enough thought that goes into the rendering. It's almost like they're taking the line of least resistance. It's like they were told that you have to put on a suit, and they just went and got a suit. I'll give you another story.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go for an
I
interview.
want to answer that,
Yeah,
but give me the next story. Make
give
it
me the
with no
next
small time.
story. Because because I am uh, plain talk bad manners. I
Yep.
am my mother's only girl child.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
my mother had nobody else to dress more than me. So I have always been fashionable. My father was what is referred to as a Dan, or in the Caribbean, a Saga boy. So I grew up in the house of a Saga boy. So being being well attired, having sartorial elegance is part of my DNA. But here is the other thing. Here is the other thing that occurs to me, that there's not enough education about these things. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I'm saying that. I remember some years ago I had to do I had to go for an interview. It was it was an important interview. And I remember going into a store and asking for a power suit. And they literally did not know what I was talking about. They did not know what I was talking about. And I will never forget that somebody who's my friend now, Angela's store is the only store that I was able to go into, and the person who was serving me actually knew what it is I wanted. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember buying a suit for $1,200. And the fact of it is that a power suit allows you to command the room when you go into the room.
Yep.
There's a fit, there's a the way that the suit is constructed, the sleeves, the distance between the shoulder and the wrist, all these things matter in a power suit. You want to create an outstanding first impression, because remember, people really do make that assumption in 5 minutes or less. We're not
Exactly.
saying that it is fear, we're saying that is what it is. But I'm saying the fact that you talked about that an image consultant is really an educator, I see it, especially these days, I see it as an untapped resource for um, a lot of female founders, a lot of female CEOs, a lot of women who are transitioning from corporate
Mm-hmm. So
to, like in
It's a
Like in my
business.
case,
Yep.
I'm a late stage entrepreneur. So having said that, let me just say good night to a few of the people. I'm seeing
Sure. No
Lisa.
problem.
Hi, Lisa. Good night. Hi, Lisa Beckles is also here. Aisha
Hi,
Aker,
Miss Speckles.
Malika Shade. Then we have Gina. We have Candace. We have Gregory. Gregory and I went to school together. So we have men. Usually we do have men on these lives.
I'm
But
happy about that because
yeah,
because
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 a
it's
lot of
not
the men
only for
come in.
women. And
No.
it's image consultancy is not only for women. That's why I deal with both men and women. It's not only for women. It's primarily because it's predominantly in a woman's space, but it's also for men too, and they can learn because you can do so much in terms of
And
men's
here
style.
and here is the other thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
never too late for a style upgrade.
Come on, come on.
It's never too late for a
It's never too
style
late for
upgrade.
nothing. It's never too late for nothing.
Exactly. Something that Lisa said, and I want to talk about it. Lisa said something here, and
I
she
think you have
said
two
that a
Lisas.
power suit.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice, we are testing out a system tonight
Yeah,
where
because yeah,
you're seeing all the comments coming
but
directly on the screen.
well,
That's
it's
a
yeah,
new
okay.
that's
It's
a new
small,
thing
but
that
yeah,
yeah, but it's a new thing that StreamYard is doing tonight. They're beta testing it, so it comes straight on the screen. But what
gotcha.
Lisa said is something that is really important, and I'd like to share it.
Mm-hmm.
She said, a power suit declares, I am in charge at once. Exactly. And it is not about being pretty, it is about creating an impact. I want people to get really clear about that.
Yeah.
So, Lisa Furbeck is saying, you ladies look lovely, definitely seeing that personal style. Well, Lisa, we are from the Caribbean. So Caribbean women are always flamboyant. We are always flamboyant. So thank you for that, Lisa. It was a great impact. Saga boy first. Yeah, my father was a saga boy. My father was a saga boy. Still is. Still is.
Oh, yes.
So let's get with the questions because this is
Mm-hmm.
something that is really important. Remember, we spoke about the fact that hey, look, Renee. Good
Hi,
night,
Miss Lindo.
Renee.
Yes, another
Good
image
night, Renee.
consultant in the
Another image
room.
consult. Exactly. That's
Yes.
fantastic. So here is the first question.
Mm-hmm.
And it talks about what you do, what Renee does, what Lisa does as well.
Yeah.
So you've worked across industries, managing communications, branding, and client relationships. What's one mistake
Mm.
that you see leaders, women or men, make when it comes to aligning their image with their impact? Remember, we talked about it's not about looking pretty, it's about
Exactly.
creating
Making impact.
impact.
You see, with many leaders, let's say the majority, right? They often underestimate the importance of visual consistency and and how that actually comes or aligns with their image. Now, when it is you indicated that um, there are a lot of people out there just wearing garments, that's why I was making notes at the time. There's a
Mhm.
difference, or they just put things together and they're not looking um, as though that they're polished, that they
Mhm.
are well put together, and it actually does not represent who they are. And there is a clear difference between wearing clothing, curating a look that is specific to your body silhouette and body shape, not your body structure. There's a clear difference between body structure and body shape, and that's a whole different life, right? And
Correct.
then and then by extension of curating a look, then styling the outfit. Because style is where it is that you elevate and you amp it up. And that's where you're bringing a lot of your personality and individuality into it, right? And
Correct.
there are a lot of leaders out here that they will dress up only if it is absolutely necessary and not being
Mhm.
intentional of understanding that the consistency, whether you're showing up in a boardroom, whether you're showing up to a meeting with your staff, you need to be able to your image has to be aligned to every single aspect of how it is you show up as a leader, right? So we have to understand that the presence, whether it's online or it's in person or even in the smallest interactions, has to reinforce your values, has to reinforce
Mhm.
your mission, has to reinforce your vision as a leader, because there are people that are looking at you. There are people and then you are a leader. So you don't only lead by the things you say, you also lead by how it is that you come into a room,
I
right?
totally agree.
It
I
builds
totally
credibility,
agree.
and it actually is an extension of your authority.
Exactly.
So
So Renee said something here, and
yeah,
it further supports. She said, they're not intentional. And
I always speak about
Renee,
intentionality.
I listen.
Yeah.
Here's the wonderful thing about being intentional.
Hmm. Come on, Miss G.
It's
Talk.
it's it's easier. It's easier for you to shop because remember, I always tell people that I'm not in fashion. I wear what suits me.
Exactly.
I'm not in fashion. I wear what suits me. So there was a, for instance, I wore uniform for a major part of my life.
And we spoke about this.
And we spoke about that. The fact
Yeah.
that even when I was wearing uniform, it was important for my uniform to fit me properly. So when I was given uniforms, I would carry them to my dressmaker and have them adjusted, have the shirts adjusted and the skirts
Mm.
adjusted. And here is a trick. Here's a trick that I learned from uniforms. When your uniform fitting you properly, you're able to dress faster. So you're skating, coming into work, you could be dressed in 5 minutes or less. It is a
Oh
point of
God.
reference. Everybody who wears uniform, that they want to be dressed in 5 minutes or less, because you
Mhm.
never know when you will have to put on that. Let's say you're resting in the middle of the night and something happens and you have to put on your uniform in tutus, or you must be able to get dressed in the dark. All these things are the things that I picked up from wearing uniform. So when I was in UE doing one of my degrees, I used to be on campus in my uniform. And
Hmm.
many times people used to compliment me on how my uniform would fit me. The thing about it, and I carried that over to when I was working office of the Prime Minister. Again, even before that, I'll go even before that. When I was an
Hmm.
international lecturer, I used to ensure that my suits for my international duties were all dry cleaned and ready at a moment's notice. It was
Yeah.
never a question of, so what am I going to put on today? It was always that I always had things ready to go, because I would be called like 24 hours. Rhonda, we
Exactly.
need you to turn up to do this. Are you available? Yes. So I made it a point of reference to always have and again, because I see clothes as an investment,
Hmm.
I took very good care of my clothes, very,
Hmm.
very good care of my clothes. So all of these things go into the whole mindset of creating the image. So let me just share some of what the ladies are saying tonight.
Yeah, and they sing a
This seems
lot.
to be they are
This
saying a
is
lot. So
fantastic.
Renee is saying that they're not intentional, and you get no argument from me, Renee, because I am intentional. Candace will tell you when I left that part of my life
Yeah,
as that,
corporate
and
C-suite.
I just that C-suite life, we sold suits. Candace came home by me and we
I
filled
did.
like
I
two
ran
suitcases,
a thrift shop and a thrift
two
sale
suitcases.
and
We
two
had two
suitcases.
suitcases. We had
Pull
two
that up.
suitcases of clothes that I sold
It was
at
crazy.
exactly. And I don't like to iron, because remember, when you have to wear uniform, I hate to iron. If you have to, when you spend the major part of your life wearing uniform, you
Yeah.
get to hate uniforms. So here is the thing that Renee is saying, and shopping causes all the problems. Closet full and still
Mm.
nothing to wear. They're not shopping for the right things. That's the problem. Oh, Renee
Oh
to this,
Lord,
Renee
listen,
speaking to them. Renee speaking to them.
listen. If we only get into that, right? Because
You
there
know,
are a
I
lot of
hardly shop. I hardly shop, and that is
Mhm.
because I have a clear idea of what suits me. You know, I'm always going to be in red, white, and black.
Yeah.
I like comfortable clothes. I like clothes. I like unfussy clothes.
Hmm.
So you will never see me with a lot of ribbons and oh, I don't like those things.
Yeah.
So I'm always intentional. I like good quality items because I see clothes as an investment. So, like this dress I'm wearing tonight, I must see wear this dress at least 15 times. And every
And
time
that's
I wear
okay.
it, somebody likes it.
And that is
Every time
okay.
I wear it, somebody likes it. So I am
And let
saying,
me go back to Miss Lindo's point in terms of shopping.
yeah,
You
which is
see,
yeah, exactly.
read out because I read the comments and I waited for you to read it. So read out the whole comments and I'm gonna to just add to that.
All right. So Renee is saying that people full of comments and have nothing. Somebody saying, Malika is saying that she is inconsistent at times.
Okay.
And that might be that she doesn't have a clear idea of how she wants to turn up. Because here is the thing, Malika and Candace will tell you,
Yeah.
when you get intentional, shopping is a breeze. You do
Hmm.
not buy things that you don't have to wear. The other thing that I do have a problem, there is never a time when I have somewhere to go and have nothing to wear.
Hmm.
It doesn't happen. It literally does not happen because you know why? I will buy clothes when I don't need it because I will buy and put down, or I will buy quality items that I could mix and match. So shopping is never a problem for me. Shopping is. I remember my father used to shop when he could. When every year, because my father was a school teacher, so you know he has to be attired, and then he was a saga boy, so I didn't have to tell you that. And when school closed for summer, he would put he because his sisters lived in the United States, and he would do all his shopping for a year from summer to summer. He would buy everything that he needed in the United States, and that would be sufficient for him until he goes back. And I'm talking about down to skincare, down to jockey shorts, undershirts,
Mm-hmm.
socks, you
Mm-hmm.
name it. And I learned that from my father. So um, somebody else is saying something here. She said, ooh, Malika, girl, you're a better person than me. She said, I am 3 weeks. I'm always ready to go. It's just the thought of that get me sick. So
Oh my
Gina
God.
is saying something also. She said, right, she has a story. She was in my sweats, which I love at 5'10" when I'm at home. So went downstairs to collect some Arabic food and bumped into a prestigious lawyer in politics as my friend. I felt self-conscious, but he said to me um, that I looked special as ever, always, Gina. You see, the thing about it is, even if you're in your sweats, there are sweats and then there are sweats. There are sweats and then there are sweats. I think the most important part of dressing is comfort. And Renee is saying something where she said, that is it. Stay ready so that you don't have to get ready. I never have that problem. I never have, what am I going to wear? It
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't happen. I do not go out as often as I used to because I have a hybrid operation.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time I'm speaking to people using the digital pathway from all over the world.
Yeah.
But even when I am coming up on camera where they're just seeing the top part of me, as the case might be, I'm still properly attired. I'm still properly
Exactly.
attired. And when I do go out, which is not very often, although I lean towards comfort, I'm still comfortable. I think people have to think about those, but there's something else that I want to bring up tonight. It's something else I want to bring up tonight, and I'll just give you a hint. about the beauty of good foundation garments. Let me talk.
Oh,
We will get into that. We will get into that. So let
woo.
us get it in it. We will get into that because we'll get into that. So here is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the next question. Gail, the
Mm-hmm.
comments so hot and sweaty that they distracted me. So what does personal presence really mean in a business context? And how does it affect how we are perceived as women in leadership?
Hmm. So
That's a
personal
good one.
presence, that's a good one. So personal presence, or what I call executive presence, has three P's, which is obviously presence, poise, and power. So
Mm-hmm.
when you are thinking about your presence, you are actually thinking about building influence. How are you inspiring others, without demanding or forcing attention? Then when
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about poise, you're talking about owning your space,
Yep.
commanding your space, and the right understanding that your confidence and consistency, and also delivering or building that credibility is part of that, as you say, personal presence or executive presence that you are um, commanding as an individual. And then power. How are you demonstrating your authenticity through your your image or your style, right? And that is where the consistency, the intentionality comes in. Because remember, going back to when it is we started the conversation, you're talking about this is outside of fashion. This is beyond fashion. This is beyond styling. This is about impressions. How are you making a first? How are you um, making that first impression? And what happens beyond that first impression? I was
Mm-hmm.
invited this weekend to speak to young girls between 12 to 18. And that's what I
Mm-hmm.
spoke to them on. That's what I based my presentation on. And thanks to my coach, Liriel, and also the organizer, Chantel, for bringing me in that space with other leaders, right? That understand that first impressions count. Your image
Yep.
is a silent communicator. It speaks before you even utter a single word out of your mouth. So when I come
Mm-hmm.
into an environment, or if I come into a room, my presence, my poise, and my power has to speak for itself. And
Yep.
then when I start to have an interaction outside of that first impression, that's where the relationships are built. That is where we be meaningful connections, and that's where we now start to stand in our own, and we are able to show up and really stand in terms of who we are in our own expertise, right?
Exactly.
So it goes everything beyond body language, your speech, how you sit, how you stand, how you greet. All of that is aligned as part of your image. People think it's only I'm wearing a nice suit or I'm wearing a nice outfit. Going back to what Ms. Lindo said about shopping, I just shopping because I see an influencer have on a nice a nice outfit, and I think that is going to look cute on me. Come on, guys, let me tell you something. You use influencers in terms of what they wear as inspiration. When you have a clear idea of your personal style characteristics and understanding your body silhouette or your body shape, you are able now to curate or to put together looks that going to one represent you, that is going to showcase your individuality. And then it takes the fuss, as Miss G said, out of trying to look for something to wear. So when Gina or I forgot the person who said that she's not consistent, because as you said,
Malika.
there is Malika, because there's a gap. She is not sure, how can I bring in my personality into the garments? How do I do that? Because a lot of us, we have a love-hate relationship with our wardrobe, right? So
Mm-hmm.
either we are too monotonous. It's a monotonous. Every day we wear the same thing. It's the same color. It's the same look, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we are transitioning and we just need that help, or sometimes we do not know at all. And there's the other spectrum of persons who are very well aware of how it is they look, what looks good on them, the colors that suit their skin tone. but you
Mm-hmm.
just want to elevate and amp it up. So when we are looking at our personal presence or executive presence, all those things come into play, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So Lisa is saying, great point. Read clothes as an investment. As a professional woman, you need to curate a professional wardrobe made up of top quality classic pieces. So I have suits that are easily 10 years old and I'm able to wear them and look fresh. This is
Exactly.
why this is why this is why I can safely say that I look at clothes as an investment. If you
It
look at
has to
clothes as
be.
an
It
investment,
has to be.
then you have to, you spend less. You spend less because I am a big believer in accessories. I curate accessories like it's nobody's business. This piece I'm wearing tonight is about 7 years old. I have all kinds of accessories.
Hmm.
Whether it's rings, whether it's earrings, I always, because
Glasses.
glasses, the works, because it is an easy way for you to dress up a simple look. If you
Thank
are a
you.
simple person, if you are not a fussy person, people like to say, well, I am not fussy. But the thing is,
What is
if you
that?
are not in, yeah, you are not intentional, you are going to
Yeah.
disappear into the woodwork.
Yeah.
I always tell people that your image, all right, let's think about the grocery. Let's think about the supermarket for a minute.
Hmm.
It would be very easy for rice to go in a brown bag and sugar to go in a brown bag and milk to go in a bottle. The mere fact that we pick up things, we shop with our eyes, we create an impression on a brand based on
Packaging.
how the brand is packaged. I'm a big
Yep.
believer in packaging. So think of yourself as a package. Do you want to be the package that is passed over, or do you want to be the package that people will say, I wonder what this package have, or
Hmm.
I wonder what this person is bringing to the table? Remember, Jamila said that she saw me. I was working in the National Security Secretariat. She saw me in Massey in St. Anne's, and I didn't see her at all. And we didn't even know each other. And she was able to tell me exactly how my hair looked at that time because I had a blunt cut, a symmetrical bob, which is
Right.
true.
Okay.
Remember, my hair was blonde at one point in time. I had a symmetrical bob, and she remembered the nails, and she remembered how I was attired. And in her mind, she said, "This lady is really fly." And she said, either this lady is an executive or this lady is a business person." And that was the
Hmm.
impression. That was the first impression. And we spoke like 4 or 5 years afterwards, and she told me that was the first impression. That do you somebody's asking me something, but I'll get to you, Gina. I'll give you that story. That's a good story. So Renee is saying something that is really important. We're not disappearing anymore. We are being fusible and taking up space. Oh, for certain. For
Come
certain.
on.
Renee, I have a whole backstory of how I used to be to who I am today, and it was a whole, I call it a soul journey, and I also talk about becoming more and more comfortable, especially as you mature, as you age. It is really important for you to um, enjoy the body that you are in at
Hmm.
this point in your
Hmm.
life, and secondly, to create an elegant silhouette. I love to see elegant silhouettes rather than people who are saying, well, I hate this phrase that you're looking good for your age. I hate it with a passion. I hate it because it doesn't say anything. It doesn't say anything. She is looking good. Full stop. He is comporting himself. I love to see men in shirts.
Hmm.
If men knew how much of a chick magnet a shirt is, more fellas would buy shirts. More fellas would buy shirts. A shirt is a chick magnet.
Oh
So
my God.
Gina is asking a question, and Gina is
So
saying, Do you go into the grocery as your amazing self? Of course. Listen, Gina, I have a
Gina,
thing for Gina. I
Gina,
have a thing for
let's not even
um
go there.
for branded t-shirts. I always have some funky t-shirt on, and even if I'm wearing a bootleg jeans, and usually I wear sandals, I don't wear a lot of high heel shoes. I'm always grooming is important to me. So I care my clothes, even my casual clothes. I have a girlfriend says something, and she says that, as we say it in the Caribbean, when you're looking razzy, when you're looking nice,
Uh-huh.
when you're looking nice, you don't see anybody. When you're having your best look, you don't see anybody. The day you come out in your razzy outfit, your old washed-out jersey,
Everybody that see you. Everybody.
everybody, and people
Listen.
and people looking at you, like, oh, what actually? So I have a policy of always turning up. Remember we talked about when I told you that when I used to be an international lecturer, and even now, remember my trainer who came from Mexico, Ricardo Delgado, told me something I never forget it. He said, don't get in the way of your message.
Okay.
That should be hardwired on everybody. Every person who is in a position of leadership or is aspiring towards being a go-to person. Let's
Mm-hmm.
forget leadership. A go-to person.
Mm-hmm.
People, you don't get in the middle of your leadership. I remember there was an administrative assistant, an administrative um, celebration, and there was a woman who came to speak to some people. I was doing a presentation, and she spoke to some of the women, and she said something, and a lot of women was offended, and I felt that they didn't understand what she meant. She said that when you go to work in a skirt that is so short that, yeah, I have a hang up with it too. Not only her, that when you go to work in a skirt that is so short, you are already saying to people that you're not serious. You are not serious, and they will deal with you in the way that you have packaged yourself. So Renee is saying it also. She said your style is a packaging of your personal brand. Exactly, exactly. And when she said it in the administrative event, a lot of women were offended, and I was in the background listening because I had to present afterwards, and I was saying, no lies were told. No lies were told. So here is the next question, and I'm going to get to foundation garments. I'm going to get to it
Mm.
tonight. Promise you that. I promise you that, because I have had the experience, because I worked as a liaison, and I worked like as a liaison officer during the heads of government conference,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw some women in some very beautiful suits, and the foundation garments left a lot to be desired. And I was like, sis, why are you doing that? Why are you doing me that? Why are you doing me that? So I am saying that's another topic that we're definitely going to get into. So let's get to question 3. And the women are talking all the thing about all the clothes, and I am so happy. So this is something that is important, and I want us to get into this because,
Mm-hmm.
anyhow, let me ask the question and we'll get into it.
Sure.
Many female founders, especially Black and brown women, feel pressure to tone down in professional spaces. How can we challenge that while still being taken seriously? That's a nice one.
It's a nice one, but it's a very layered question because there's so
Yeah.
many contexts to that question. Context of tone down as to, are you wearing in a corporate space? Are you wearing too much color? Right? Because when you're in a corporate environment, they think that muted tones are the only tones that you could wear into an office. I don't know where
I'll give
that
you a story about
misconception
that just now.
came
I'll give you a story
into,
about that, but
right?
continue.
And then there's the other context whereby that you are coming into an environment knowing fully well, dressing your part into your personal style, bringing out your individuality and authenticity, and people find that's a bit too much. You're too much. You're a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I would say to that is that your personal style does not have to be in your face. It doesn't have to be loud, but you still want to ensure, again, you as an individual, you are your personal brand and you are a walking brand. So why not show up, right? Um, so this thing about toning it down because we are, and the thing is, what is toning down? Is it toning down because I am a bit too much for you, or you are not aware? Because sometimes you are just reflecting the insecurities of the other person. So for them, they have to put their insecurities on you. So you would think that something is wrong with themselves, right? And not knowing that they too can own and command a room and own their space and be confident in confident who they're in if they took the time
And
to
it
be
is important.
intentional, right? And it is
Give me
important.
1 second. Let
This
me
thing,
just change
sure,
my, let me
yeah,
just change my
I'll continue. And
my Bluetooth.
this thing
Give me 1
about
second.
wearing muted
Changing my
colors,
Bluetooth again.
yeah, sure. This thing about wearing muted color, you could only wear black to an interview, or you could only wear the browns and the grays and the navies and the tans to a corporate workspace. Because if you wear, or if you bring in color, or if you bring in prints, it is too much for the environment. We need, post COVID, that's supposed to be out of the door, because we have become, our working environments have become so diverse now that we are no longer, we are no longer bound to those rules. Now, I'm not saying be inappropriate in your dressing. That's where you mentioned about the short skirts, and then you have, for women, you have your cleavage outside. There is a time and a place for that. When you're in a working environment, again, you can bring in your color. You have to understand what are your foundational colors for you, for you as a person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how you can create a look that you could incorporate color but suited for the environment that you work in, yet it still lends to your personal style characteristics, and yet still it lends to what you are bringing into the environment, holistically, to your team, right? So
I hear you.
yeah, so this thing about toning down, I think a lot of, and I don't want to say leaders, a lot of managers or executives are getting it. I don't want to say
They're
getting it
getting it
wrong, because
wrong. They're getting it
you want
wrong.
to say
They're
getting it
getting
wrong,
it
you're getting
wrong.
it wrong, right? And we have to change our mindset in where that is concerned, because as I said, you want to show up fully, you want to show up boldly. That has no bearing on how you are doing your job. It is just giving added um credence to that I respect the office. I respect the space that I'm in. I respect the environment that I'm in. I'm outside of what I bring to, based on my talents and my skills. I'm also bringing a level of um I'll go back to a level of individuality to my whole
Mm-hmm.
team. And that's supposed to actually create within, your working environment, that's supposed to create some sort of buzz and some hype that people are excited about dressing. People are not excited about dressing. I don't know why, but they're not excited. And again, it goes back to, they just don't know, because they have
I
been so
think
conditioned to one thing.
I think another thing, and I'll get to the comments because the comment box full. I think what is happening is that there is a Eurocentric model on how people are supposed to look. Now,
Mm.
having said that, there is, as you quite rightly said, there is a way to layer it. It is possible for you to wear color. I remember there was a woman who, her name escapes me now, but she went for her very first interview at a Fortune 500 company. She ended up heading the company. And in her first interview, she wore a red suit. And she said that she wanted them to know from day one who she was.
Who she exactly?
So it was a beautiful suit, well cut. This is the beauty. Here is the thing that a lot of people miss. If the suit is well made, or if the dress is well designed, then color becomes immaterial because it will be appropriate for the occasion, for the
Yes,
profession, for the
yes.
whatever. The issue comes about. The issue comes about when there is not enough, as Renee rightly said, where there is not enough intentionality. So
Mm-hmm.
you
It's
end up
repetitive.
it ends up creating it creates a discordant image that so it's
And a
not really you.
disassociation. Yeah,
Exactly. So
yeah.
I like to wear bright colors, and I am saying that if the cut of the suit, if the cut of the dress, if the cut of the outfit is appropriate to your body, if it's appropriate to the organization, because Carla Harris was the first person who said it. She said every organization has a uniform, and it is important for
Mm.
you to know the uniform. Now, in knowing the uniform, it does not mean that you cannot um, create a space where your individuality will shine.
Mm.
It will.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing about it is that we are people coming into organizations. The organization is not a monolith. It is a place where different levels, different people will be working together. We are social
Yeah.
animals. So it is possible. The issue I have, however, is organizations where, especially for Black and Brown women,
Mm.
organizations where women are discouraged or victimized for wearing their
Disrespected.
natural
Yep.
hair.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is a serious pushback because I'm telling you that it took me in my own life. I remember during the pandemic, I looked at my own self and I asked myself if this was really me or if it was a mask I was wearing. Because I had all the look of the corporate person. I had the layered cut blonde, keratin hair, and everything. And I felt like if I was drowning inside of that image, and I had to
Mm.
ask myself a very hard question: is this me, or is this something that was said to me that this is how I'm supposed to turn up? And what I did is dismantled it. I totally dismantled it. First thing I did was cut all the keratin hair off, and I
Thought.
grew out my natural hair. I stopped dyeing my hair. I remember I wanted to stop dyeing my hair about 5 years before I actually did it. Um, at the time where I worked, I couldn't have long nails. Nails is a thing I've always liked.
Mm.
So one of the things that I did almost as soon as I went into um, full-time entrepreneurship was the nails. The nails, and now this is part of my signature style. So I am saying that it is possible. It is possible for you to turn up as the best version of yourself and yet still be able to create that impact. Remember, we're not talking about pretty, we're talking about impact. We're talking about
Mm-hmm.
commanding the room. We're talking about creating a buzz We're talking about creating value in these spaces, and this is important. So let me share some of the uh,
Comments because they're coming in fast and
oh,
furious.
there is a comment that I really want to get into, and this is
Mhm.
from Lisa Fivik. She said, "This is such an important conversation. As a menopause coach, I often see women who've lost their confidence and tend to withdraw. From what you all are sharing, finding clothes they love can help them feel more self assured and experience so much more joy." Lisa, let me share a little story with you. When I was going through menopause, I went from a size 8 to a size 16. I had never been that big in my entire life. I was I went from a size almost a size 1. The biggest I've ever been was a size 8. And when Madam Menopause reached, overnight I was size 16.
Hmm.
And it was like there was nothing that I could do to throw off the weight. And I remember going to the mall, and you know how Trinidadians have no cover for their mouth. If you don't have good a strong constitution, and they will tell you to your face. And I remember a girl telling me, how you get so big? and I was and my response to that was, if my man don't have a problem with my size, you shouldn't have a problem with my size. No, because my thing was this: you cannot. Menopause is already a head game for women. There are things about menopause that they don't prepare us for. The the sweats is an awful thing. That's one. Number two, you will put on weight.
Yeah.
Number three, you will retain weight in your stomach. The cortisol is go mad. Just get a belly overnight. What they also do not tell you is that for more than 2 or 3 years after you have crossed into menopause and on the outside of it, 2 or 3 years afterwards, you're still holding the weight. So
Hmm.
one of the things that you're going to have to do during the process of menopause is two things. This is the time when your body. So that's the first thing. The second thing is this. The second thing is this. You have to now come to terms with the fact that your body is going through a certain amount of change, and you have to give your body a little more love. You have to give your body a little more love. But for some women, two stages of life that women, and to some extent men, but women I know for a fact, have a lot of challenges, is in their 40th year. That's the
Hmm.
first one.
Hmm.
That's the first one.
Hmm.
And the second one is menopause. Menopause is a is a frustrator, because I went to an event the other day, and we started a menopause conversation, and those sweats are awful for all of us. It is awful. It's
I
almost like
can.
if you
Mm-hmm.
you put your finger in a light socket. It's
Yeah.
like and you're sweating.
Yep.
And this girl who's a VA, Candace has
Candace, yeah,
a bald
Greenwich.
head, and Candace
Greenwich,
was
yeah.
saying
My
she was
namesake.
literally, you understand, she was sweating from her head. So it is
Yeah.
important. So let us
But just to speak
let
to
us
what
talk
what
about
Lisa's
just now. Let me
Lisa's
just change this thing because I'm having so much fun with this conversation. Let me change
so
this one again
so
because
so to
everybody is in with this conversation
yep.
tonight.
So just to
Ladies, give me 1 second.
Lisa's comment to persons going through menopause. You see, a lot of the times, outside of menopause, there are also women have very traumatic experiences, and that still resonates within them, right? And then so they see dressing as more of a task than more as a self care, and that mindset. And so when I'm dealing with clients, I get to the root of what are the factors that you're stuck and what's holding you back. Because some clients may still be in the past. They still want to wear the fitted clothes and your body has changed. Why are you not in love with that body? And then when you drill down, you find that there's so many layers that has been piled on years and years that you have to now carefully strip off and deal with to get to them now starting to love and own their body, right? And love the skin they're in, so that when they go to shop, they love shopping and they shop with purpose and they shop with intentionality. Now, you made a comment where it is that you said that when it is you actually buy quality clothing, that it's cheaper. And yes, that is true to a point, but it doesn't necessarily have to be cheaper. You can buy a high price quality item and let that bring longevity to many of your looks, right? You just have to know how to strategically do it, right? Your style, your personal style is not about trends. Your personal style is a strategy. It is very strategic. It's strategic to you. And it is
Okay, you back in?
You hearing me?
Yes, I am.
All right, it's okay. We'll do it from the phone. Just have to hold it
Yes,
up.
exactly. Exactly. Because
Hold it up.
I couldn't figure out why it is I wasn't getting the audio, and Lisa said she went off. Yeah, I couldn't figure that one out at all because I always have about 3 different Bluetooths at the same time. All right,
Right.
so ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. When you're doing
Thank
a
you.
live, madness usually takes place. Right, so you hear me clearly now?
Yeah.
Wonderful. So let's see what will happen and let us deal with the issue. So let's get to the other question and quick shot. Let's get to the other questions because we have some questions here. And for the last one, so we have question 4. And you are a certified image consultant, and we talked
Mhm.
about that in the early part of it.
Yeah.
And as well as a style coach. How do you help clients? Remember, we were talking about how some people are not intentional, and then we talked about menopause, and then we talked about other challenges that we were having. So, how do you help clients define a signature image that reflects who they are and where they're going? And thank you, Lisa.
Yeah. You can see her comments. Yeah, I can't see the comments anyway. But my approach is actually rooted in individuality and intentionality. So I would have said this in the beginning as well, in the start of the live, that I really work with the client in terms of auditing their now, their present. Who are they now? Right? Understanding where they are, what is their headspace, getting into what are those characteristics that really represent them, right? And then proceed into audit or clarifying their next. What is your next move? What are your goals? Where are you looking to go? How are you looking to evolve as a person? Right? What is your vision? What's your purpose? And then by understanding that, really doing that discovery in terms of bridging the gap of aligning the garments that are in their wardrobe to who they are evolving into. And most of the times clients, what they're wearing are not aligned to who they are in the present, because as I said, they just don't know. It's that self-discovery that I work with the clients, both male and female as well. I'll just tap into a potential client that I have who is attorney at law, and also he is a board of directors. And the first thing that he said to me in our discovery, our style clarity call, is that his style, he's very aware that his style is not aligned to who he is in the present, who he is now, right? A
Is in
lot of the clothes is
2025.
it's not a self-expression of him. And he is very frustrated, and he wants to have clothing and he wants to dress that is aligned to who he is in the present in terms of his profession, but also where he's going. He's looking to be a CEO. He's looking to make some big major moves. So he is already very cognizant and aware of where I am right now and how I'm dressing right now is not aligned to where I want to go to. So that is where it is I work with clients in terms of really curating those looks and understanding what is in their wardrobe, trying to remove or edit those pieces that no longer serve them. Now, you're not throwing away, as I always say, not throwing away the baby with the bathwater, because there will be some pieces that you can keep. But once you really see a clear visual of what is in your wardrobe and what's left within your wardrobe, now you can shop and you can invest in pieces with pure intentionality, and you're not shopping off of what an influencer says or what it is that you think you need to have in your wardrobe. You're going to be purchasing pieces that will also be able to complement what's already there, and then you are able to now build looks that actually represent you, right? So, and that's
Here's it.
what I talk about in terms of shopping. You have to we're not out here to be wasting money. We are out here to invest in pieces that is going to bring us longevity, but also going to speak to what our personal style characteristics are. Because when we show up in rooms, we want to make sure that we're showing up and representing in our best selves, right?
And I totally
So,
agree. I totally agree. Because
yeah,
here
it
is
is
the
a
thing.
strategy.
It is a strategy and something right. So Renee had said that many of her clients are peri and menopausal women. So
Yeah,
helping them
I read that.
curate wardrobes that embodies where they are right now.
Yes.
Um, she also said our bodies change and everything you used to wear just don't fit anymore, but you are not stuck. And that, I think, that is the important part, that you are not stuck, that it comes, as I said, it comes from a place of loving your body where the body is now. You see,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the time women get caught up in the mindset of who they used to be, and they feel that the person that they're evolving to now is, there's a disconnect. They
There's a
feel that
disconnect,
they
yeah.
are, yeah, they feel that they are now retired hot girls. So now they don't, they reject that because they cannot they cannot let go of the person that they
They're
used to
holding on
be,
to that. Yeah, they're holding on to
and
that. Yeah.
they're holding on to a season that is already gone. Let's put it that way. So before we go to the next question, let us see what the ladies are saying. And I
Sure.
love what Renee has said. Um, Gina has said, Candace, they're hearing us now. So no, we will. All right. So there were people who was fighting the battle of the audio. So we win that battle. So I'm saying, let us talk about the elephant in the room before we go any further.
Foundational garments.
Foundation garments. Listen to me.
Oh, good.
When you I have a friend who's a certified bra fitter. When you go to get properly fitted with your bra, it's almost like if you lose weight, because your foundation garments, and I'm not talking about spanks, I'm not talking about body shapers, although those things do serve a purpose and they are important. I'm talking about wearing the proper bra for your cup size, That's a number one issue I see happening all the time.
Hmm.
And the other thing is wearing smoothers, wearing think of your foundation garments as your framework upon which you're going to put this garment. I remember being I remember we girlfriend and I in New York, we in Victoria's Secret, and I am hesitating to buy a bra for 50 US. And she said, Rhonda, you will never regret buying that bra. And I did buy the bra. And what I tell people is that, especially for women, it is very important. Two times that you need good bras is when you have a small cup size, and when you have a large cup size.
Yep. Yep.
It is really, really important. I see women who will buy a dress for $1,200, $1,500, and will not buy a bra for $500. And I am saying it is also important for you to think of the foundation garments as part of the overall finish, of the overall look. According to Lisa said the VP visible panty line, the VPL. That is
Oh,
that is
that
a
is a
no
pet
no.
peeve of mine. Oh
That's
my
a no
God.
no. That's a no no. Listen, when this place in Trinity Mall used to bring Spanx, I was so in
Sincerely
love with
yours.
Spanx. Yeah, I was so in love with Spanx. I could have stand up outside of the store and help and tell people to sell the Spanx for them. Because I'm saying people feel that it is too much money to buy good foundation garments. But I am saying if you want a smooth silhouette, these are things that you have to invest in. You cannot do one and you know,
It
it is
does, it
important.
just, it
Think of it
does
as a
exactly,
silhouette.
it does exactly what it says. It
Yeah.
creates the frame, and as you said, the foundation for when you put on your clothing. You want a smooth, seamless look so that it sits on your body. It accentuates what it needs to accentuate. It camouflage what it needs to
It's
camouflage.
about
And you're
flash,
able
exactly.
now to feel confident in what you wear. What Miss Lindo said in terms of the VPs. Oh my God, as a
Yeah.
pet peeve of mine,
Yeah,
always
that's a
check.
pet peeve
And
of mine.
I'm very cognizant. I'm very so paranoid about that. Check and see how's it looking. And then the inappropriate underwears that persons wear, the inappropriate bras, and then depending on the material of your garment, it is not appropriate. It is not appealing. It does not look good. And the importance of it is that you really want to leave your house looking as though that you
Looking
are
your
well put together.
best.
Yeah, that you well
Looking
put
your
together.
best.
Why would you
It's
not
as
check?
simple as that. But here is the thing. You from South, and I
I'm from
always
South.
say
I'm a South girl.
South people are different animal altogether. But we grew up. Remember, we grew up with having aunts and mothers and nannies who understood the importance of good foundation garments. Remember, they always used to tell you,
Papa
make
slip, your
sure.
camisole, your
Yeah,
your
exactly.
stocking, everything.
Exactly. So I am saying, Gina is saying she don't want to wear any more bras, but I am saying that she says she don't want to wear any more bras, but I am saying it is important. These things add to the entire image that you want to create
Yeah.
because remember, fashion is an optical illusion, and the job of you and you know it is coming out in this conversation that there's a lot of people who may think that they need a stylist, and what they really need is an image consultant.
They do.
I
They-
because I see it more often than not. I see in spite of all the information that is out there, in spite of all the conversations that are taking place, that there are still women and men who are stuck in the old ways of thinking.
Yes,
That that if that if the shirt good, I could still wear it.
I could still wear
But
it.
is it appropriate for your movement in an organization or
Exactly.
the new direction that you want to take? And the other thing that I want to bring out here before we go to the last question and the bonus question, and I thank everybody who stayed with us and who will catch the
Thank
replay.
you.
Shop your wardrobe first.
I always say that. I always
Shop
say
your
that.
wardrobe. Shop your
Why are you
wardrobe
going
first.
outside to shop if you don't know
Shop
what it is
your
you're buying?
wardrobe first. Because anytime people tell me about retail therapy, I started getting nervous one time because I remember there was a time in my life, just like in everybody's life, where we used to shop until we drop, and then you look in your wardrobe and you have or you look in your closet and you have 5, 6, 7, 10, 15 outfits with
Of
the
the
tags
same
still on it.
thing. Yep.
With the tags still on it. So that is what I'm saying. Retail therapy. Anytime I hear somebody use the phrase retail therapy, I immediately get nervous. Because to me, retail therapy is better to go for therapy than retail therapy. It means that you're using shopping, you're using shopping to fill a gap that you probably would be better served by sitting down with a seasoned professional and get to the bottom of the problem.
Thank you.
So,
Exactly.
so the whole idea of shopping your closet is really, really important. So let us go to the last question. And thank you, Candace, because this is I'm going to be inviting you to my upcoming podcast. We have to talk some more about this thing.
Oh, there's
So
so many levels to this, but go ahead. We haven't
no,
spoken about
because
color and oh, is there
That-
so
that-
much?
exactly. So, but here is the question that I think a lot of people believe that you have to have a lot of money or a
Hmm.
big budget to have a tight wardrobe, for want of a better word. So, for entrepreneurs on a budget or building from scratch, what are 2 or 3 affordable but powerful style upgrades that elevate their presence instantly? I would say the bra. I would say the bra.
So
I would
definitely.
say the foundation.
So
I would say the
again,
foundation garments. That's just me.
so
I would say the foundation garments.
so again, you actually answered the question before you even answer. You even asked any question. Shop with before you purchase anything, you have to go into those, open those 2 doors, open it, and shop within your wardrobe. You
Yeah.
have to do a audit. You have to do a really clear how do I say purging of
Mhm.
what is in
What
that
no longer
closet that
works and what no longer works.
no longer
Because
works for
here,
you,
because
what aligns
here
to
is
you now.
here's the other thing. You're not going to go back to size zero.
And and
Get
that is
somebody,
it.
sell it, sell
The
it,
flip side,
sell it or get rid of it. Sell it or
thank
get
you.
rid of it.
Sell it, give it away, gift it. But there's the other thing of if it is that you're on the spectrum of, you know what, I want to reach to my goal weight, so I'm keeping it until when you do decide, right? And I'm not, you know, pinpointing or pointing fingers at any one person, any particular person here or anything like that. But if it is that you on a mission on a goal, one of your goals is to lose a certain amount of weight and you want to be an ideal size. When you actually reach to that goal, what makes you think that that particular garment is something that you're going to be interested in when it is, or you're
Want to
going to
wear.
like
Or you
that you're going to
want
wear
to
when you
wear.
lose the weight? Your mindset is going to be totally shift because you're now going to be so engulfed in this new body that you're in that what you want to do is you want to bring in new pieces that is going to, fit this new you, right? So this thing about I'm keeping clothes until I lose weight or until I put on weight, and no, gift it and bring room. There's a verse in the Bible that says where you cannot put new things into, you cannot what it is, you cannot um pour new wine into old wineskin.
Old
That means you
wineskin.
have to remove the
Exactly.
old and you leave room to bring in the new, so that you start to have a refreshed vision of your new self. So before
You got it.
you even think about elevating and bringing in certain pieces, look within your wardrobe. The second thing is what Miss G said: foundational garments. Invest your money into proper bra fitting and foundational garments, so that it sets the stage to those new pieces that you're bringing in to curate and build your looks, right? And then you need to identify if it is that your wardrobe has just one tone or hue of color. As I
Yep.
said, a color theory and color analysis is a whole different conversation.
Mm-hmm.
If it is that you're only looking at muted tones, you have to be bringing in some color in there, because color creates impact and color brings life to your clothing, right?
Correct.
And then
Correct.
you're talking about accessories. Miss G said that she has accessories 10 years old. You have, when
Yes,
you
I
invest
have
in
accessories
pieces,
here.
yeah, you are investing in pieces that are going to work within your evolution, within your seasonal updates and all of that. So when you're starting, start with what is within your closet. Invest in your foundational garments, remove and edit and purge, and then you start to, I really see that what pieces that you need. If it's going to be a structured jacket, Miss G, you spoke about earlier about when it is you went into boutiques, they didn't know what a power suit is. Let me tell you something, guys. If a boutique doesn't know about a power suit, you can create your own power suit. You buy a
Correct.
tailored pants, you buy a structured jacket, you could buy it in different colors, and you create a power suit on your own. Again, if you don't know how to, there are image consultants like myself that could help you.
And I totally agree, because one of the things that I always recommend, if you have a if you don't think that you have a lot of money to invest in the first stage of your revamp, look for some pieces that you could wear with a change of shirt. I always recommend people buy a good pair of trousers.
Yes,
A good pair of tailored trousers, you cannot go wrong, because a good pair of tailored trousers in a good material, that one pair of trousers, you'll be able to wear it with a shirt, with a blouse, with a cardigan, with a jacket, with a scarf, with a statement piece, brooch,
necklace
with
or
a
earring or
statement.
brooch. Yep.
Exactly. So there is no end. But I am saying that you must be intentional about it. You must
Have
be
to be.
intentional about it. And a little pop of color, you can't go wrong. Because the thing about color, it instantly makes you feel good. And remember, we're not only dressing to impress the person who we want. When you look good, you feel good. So we positioning this image into, I am going out into the world to conquer. So
Yeah.
that is the important part. Now, let's get to the bonus question, and then I will share something, and then we will close off this evening. And thank you. I am inviting you to my podcast. I'm going to talk about it in a little while.
Okay, sure.
So, what's one thing in your wardrobe? And I'd like everybody on the replay and people who stayed with us tonight, what's one thing in your wardrobe that instantly makes you feel like the CEO version of yourself?
I kind of have two things, but my one thing is actually color. Color is powerful. Color makes me happy. And then outside of color, there's also You know, you're talking about prints and different types of bold prints, you know, Ankara prints, different prints that really um gives that actual amp and oomph to your look. And then by extension of that is my heels. You know, when I was in telecoms, first thing that persons will look at is my feet. When I had my team, they would
Me
be like,
too.
okay, my heels. I
Me
always like my
too.
heels. But now when you get older, you just have to kind of, you just
No,
kind of,
I lost the cartilage in my knees, and
oh, okay. But
I had to do
listen, Miss
treatment to
G.
get back. But I was known for my shoes.
Yeah, known for my
I
shoes.
was known for my shoes.
But
Known
now
for my
as
shoes.
I am evolving and my style has evolved as well. I'm into color. I'm really, really into color and really honing into my foundational colors and how it is I use color to contrast with, you know, other complementary colors and really curate different looks. So that when I get into a room, I learned this from a young girl from the session on Saturday, that I'm bringing an aura to me. I'm bringing an aura when I get into a room.
Exactly.
So color is
Exactly.
definitely that one thing within my wardrobe that, you know, I'm that boss
I
babe.
well, I don't even I you don't even have to guess where I am concerned.
And that's it.
My
That
favorite
what is signature to
my
Miss
favorite
G.
color my
Everybody should
favorite
know
color
that.
is red. My favorite color is
Exactly.
red. I instantly, I don't know, red is the color that empowers me.
Yeah.
I I always I always invest in a good red lipstick. I always ensure that I have at least one outstanding red outfit, or I would wear red accessories. I like funky handbags as well.
Hmm.
So
You like my
there
mom.
isn't, I like handbags. Listen, it had a time I had 3 drawers filled with handbags. You know, I am a clothes horse. I'm a retired clothes horse. So all habits die hard.
Yeah.
So on that note, I'm going to share something this evening,
Okay.
and I'm going to share a little bit before we close off. And ladies, thank you for staying with us. We had a little issue with the audio, but we fixed it, and you will catch us on the replay as well. So, this is something that we've been working on and we will be sharing, and this is it. We have something that is a giveaway tonight again. These workbooks are not going to be available outside of the live events because we're doing something else, and I'll talk about it in a little while. But for those of you, and I really love the conversation tonight. The conversation tonight was hot and heavy. So for those of you who will be on the replay, please drop a replay into the comments, and I will drop it in the DM as well, and I will get the toolkit to you. So this is what the personal presence toolkit looks like. And we have realized, based on the conversation tonight, that a lot of people, a lot of people need the help. And Lisa, yeah, a good handbag. I love handbags. So this is what the workbook looks like tonight, and it is with a welcome. These are the table of contents: the introduction, build your signature style, a show up strategy, a legacy vision, define your presence so you make reliable impressions to your clients, a presence audit, because we realize, based on the conversation tonight, that there are people who need to audit their look, audit their wardrobe, and going forward, audit how they want to turn up in the world. So
Hmm.
again, because I'm very much into affirmations, there are affirmations for a powerful presence because it always begins and ends with you. So this is it. We have how would you like your business? How would you like your business to make others feel? How much did your business change your life? What is the best thing you've ever invested in? So it's a space for you to define. And then you define your presence. What are the 5 words that describe the version of you that you're stepping into in this season? And there are 3 words, and you are allowed to get into it, brainstorm it out. So when you get to Candace, You have a clear picture of how Candace can help you. Then you build your signature style. What are the three colors that feel most powerful on you? What are the silhouettes or outfits that make you feel most confident? And what's one item you wear that always gets compliments? Remember, in Candace's case, Candace said that her heels used to give her all the compliments. So it may be that. It may be your accessories. It may be your color scheme. But hone in on what works. Then there's a presence audit. Rate yourself. I show up in a way that matches my values and goals because that is also important. My wardrobe reflects my future, not just my past, and I feel confident being visible online and in person. So we have a lot of other things. We have a show up strategy. So you actually get to plan. Some people said that sometimes they fall off the wagon. You get to plan your show up strategy. You also get to center how you're going to turn up in the world in the things that you are saying about yourself. So some of the things that you're going to say about yourself is that I show up as a woman I am becoming. My presence speaks before I do. I do not shrink to fit into rooms. I was born to lead. I dress like the CEO I already am. So this is the giveaway. So tonight, this is the giveaway. I believe in workbooks that people could actually use. So that's where this is.
Right.
So let me just take this off, and I would be remiss tonight if I didn't do one very, very important thing, and I will do it now. And this is it. Now, I have to thank everybody. I have to thank you, Candace, for partnering with me as the last guest. But on the 7th of April, I came up with the idea that we would start having these conversations, and that within these conversations, I would learn from people, they would learn from me, and we would create a holistic space where women would have these conversations. So tonight, I'd like to take a little time to thank these women, and these are the women that were part of it. This is Tyne, Aisha, Celia, Jamila, Jupiter, Anne-Marie, and of course, Candace. I would have been nowhere without the input from these women, whether it was wellness, whether it was about money, whether it was about image, whether it was about imposter syndrome, whether it was about creating safe spaces. These women brought their A game every single Monday. Now, what is next? And this is what is going to happen next. Some people didn't get the chance to get in on a Monday. Life is lifing, people are busy, things are happening. We have curated everything, all the strategy, all the soul, all in one place. It's going to be called the Bold Business Board. And this will be attached to my website. So what you will get is everything that you missed, whether it's the workbooks, whether we will have checklists, we will have freebies. We have two tiers. We have a free tier and a paid tier. It's entirely what we are going to be creating the landing page on my website. So you go straight into the website and you get it. And what is that going to look like? This is what it's going to look like. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of 8 weeks of information. It was a pleasure. And for those of you who are wondering, well, what is the Zoma lady going to be doing next? We are headed into the thing that I have been procrastinating about for the longest time. I have been procrastinating. And that is that the Bold Woman in Business and Leadership will now become a podcast. It will now become a podcast. Look out for it. The first week in July, we are going to be doing all the things. For those of you who are interested in guesting, now would be a very good time to start to reach out to me. I'll be reaching out to a few people. We will have that conversation and we are going to be talking all the things. In the meantime, those of you who were on the Facebook version, of course, by now you would realize that Facebook is taking down all the lives after 30 days. So within a 30-day period, a lot of these lives will be gone, and I am only going to leave them to run until the end of June, and I will be taking them down as well. There is now a curated playlist on YouTube, and inside of the Bold Business Vault, people will also get access to all the replays. So, on that note, thank you. We went longer than we were supposed to go, but
You did.
it is what it is, and we could always go in and edit to suit. So
Sure.
thank you, Candace.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
everybody who
Yeah.
joined us for the 8 weeks. It's funny that the last episode is the one that gave all the trouble. As the old people say, the last child has always tried to kill the mother.
Oh
So
Lord.
it was a lot of fun, and I look forward to all of you joining us on the upcoming Bold Women in Business and Leadership podcast.